Tell people, man, hip hop, this thing that people playing with now was beautiful, man. This thing was beautiful, and it got ruined. So it's a lot of things people don't know. A lot of stuff happened by accident. And it was hip hop. It was in its rawest form back then, like the '90s. It was this young raw talent that grew up listening to people that were above them rapping that you never even knew these dudes was rapping. You know what I'm saying? They came up and they took the helm and ran with it, man. Big Pun, the Punisher. Pun, his whole style is G rap. If you listen to Big Pun, he grew up listening to G rap and Polo. You could tell it's all in his flow. I never knew that, you know, Fat Joe. Well, of course, Joe lies a lot, so I can't really trust everything Joe says now, especially when he's been proven to be a liar now, because it's all about image now, and he's got this, this drawn on beard looking thing on his face. It looks kind of weird now. He's like Hollywood. I can't really trust nothing comes out of his mouth no more. So I won't even use what he said in this thing as a statement. But here's what I've been told about what happened. Now, Big Pun, who came out in like 95, 96, with, being seen around with Fat Joe. And Biggie had just got through ripping up the lyricist line. So once they heard about, man, this dude is chilling, but he was already signed with Puff. Fat Joe wanted to sign him, but he was cool with them. Like, yo, he's telling them, yo, man, this dude here, yo, this dude's crazy. Man, I'm over here pumping Flojo on vinyl. I'm pushing my own vinyl. And this dude here is insane. Man, he crazy. Puff, you got one. Like, this is the guy here. Like, man, he for real. Biggie Smalls, oh yeah, okay. I'm checking for you. Because you just wrecked every dude up in here. Even though there weren't no real threats in there, really, seriously. It was a couple dudes who thought they could rhyme. Big crushed their dreams of being rappers that night. So, all them other dudes got pushed to the side. So, once you hear that happen, then all these dudes fall by the wayside. And you're like, okay, well, who's the next? So, Pun hears about all this. Pun destroys. I mean, destroyed. It was so bad what he did in the Lyricist Lounge. And he did it against way tougher competition than when Big did. But when Pun did it, it was over. It was over, B. And once the battle got to the point where it wasn't even a battle, he was just literally embarrassing dudes. Because Fat Joe always compared him like to Big and everything. So when Pun met Big, it was just, all right, what up, dude? What up? What up? And Big was that guy. Ready to Die was out and was crushing. Pun knew, and Fat Joe knew, this is the format to follow. For a big dude, he made it cool for a big dude to do what he do. So he's telling Pun, look, he just gave you the blueprint on what a big dude's supposed to do. This is how to do it. You can still be Big Pun, and it'll work. The rhymes still work. Biggie is saying the illest, rawest lines ever. And Pun looked at Joe and was like, you think you could take me, son? You think you could rap better than me? Huh? That what you saying? You was gonna do an album with him? No, I was saying I wanted to do the heavyweight album with him instead of Pun. I mean, before Pun, he, was talking about doing that with Biggie. That was his vision, like doing heavyweights and stuff like that, coming in there. But he's like, this is the whole avenue. This is the play. What they did was take the heavy D route, and without being heavy D, they wasn't Walt Disney like with the lyrics. They lyrics is hardcore and gutter into the streets, but they still fly. You know, they popping champagne. You know, they got on suits and hats like Dons. It's like, wait a minute. This was the grimy dude we saw up in the club. You know what I'm saying? With the Timbos on. And he was like, this dude could dress up, still get fresh, and do this, and it's accepted. I'm in shock. Cause that don't normally happen in this profession. If you like change up, if you be one way, you gotta wear one way. Like Run DMC had to wear the doggone hats. They had to wear the leather with the hats every show. If Run DMC wasn't wearing the leather jackets, the matching leather jackets and the hats, nobody was gonna respect it. They gonna be like, wait a minute, who are these dudes? What a shell toe white Adidas. Where's the leather and the hats? This ain't Run DMC. So, you know, you had to have a certain performance or some type of thing that stood out for you to be able to switch it up, and it was all good. You know, only certain people could do that in the profession and be respected. Not even LL Cool J could come out and rap in a suit. You know, even in a gangster suit, Pac was the only other person I really seen that pulled that off. Before that, you know, Pac was, you know, dressing how he wanted, but I've never seen Pac really go out and rock in a suit. You know, that just wasn't his style, but he could have pulled it off. He's the only other artist I saw at that time that could have pulled that off. But what Big did was be able to pull it off, rock in a suit, come out in some jeans, some doggone Mark Buchanan jeans with some Timbos, and rock. And Pun and Fat Joe took that blueprint and ran with it. So Big and Pun met each other, and it was like, MC respect another MC. And was like, yeah, So Big was doing him the like, what up? He had the red leather. He had the what's that 4101 flavors or whatever. He had that 5001 flavors or whatever. They was designing his clothes. He had the like the little kid sit it up. He was Big Papa. There was no doubt about it. He was Big Papa. Ready to Die was burning up everything. He's crushing remixes. And he was like, man, dog, how you gonna do an RB joint, man? And then you come go back to the streets, man. They respect that. Normally you had to be in the game for a minute, man. You had to be a game for a minute before you could do that. You did that right out the rip, man. I respect that. So Fat Joe, Pun respected the fact that he did that. Like, dude, you just, like, you didn't give a about what you just did. Do you even know what you just did? And it was like, he don't even know, son. He don't even know, man. He just did it. He's just a Brooklyn dude. So when the situation kicked off and they had the Wu-Tang come around, and when the Wu-Tang came around, the whole thing turned around upside down. Big Pun, Terror Squad, they was riding with Biggie. That was the guy they was riding with. Because Puff was gonna get, you know, help them out. They was gonna open on some shows, do this and that. It led into a lot of different things. And unfortunately, Big went around before they could actually get together and do some work because Big wanted to rhyme with him. And he was like, man, two big heavyweights, you know what I'm saying? And then Joe was like, you know, I'm gonna get on the track, all three of us. This our time. This our era now. The big boys. We the heavyweights of the game. He's like, being big and fly is popular again. So now, you know, they was making that hot. And back then he was Big Punisher. Somebody called him, Big Pun every now and then for short, but it was Punisher. The Big Punisher, man. And after that, he had this song out that ended up on the Soul in the Hole soundtrack that Big was supposed to be on. Big was gonna be on the Soul in the Hole, and he was gonna put a song out on that, but he ended up, he ain't make it. And they was working on that back then about the basketball. Everybody was jumping on that. And that's one of the most underrated soundtracks of all time, people, that nobody talks about. And that's the Soul in the Hole soundtrack. They had a show promotion, and that's where Eminem come into play at. But I'll leave that for later. I don't want everybody to get everything all at once. But yeah, Pun was something else. So I'll talk about the rest on the Patreon, because then we finna get into some stuff where people losing lives and all that. So we're gonna finish this on the Patreon. One.